So you're aiming for a dean of students role, and you know just how tough that interview process can be. Well, today we're going to break down the one question that can absolutely make or break your chances. Let's dive right in.
I want you to picture this. You've made it. You're in the final round. The interview is going great, you're building rapport, and then the panel kind of leans in and asks that question. How do you handle conflict? Your answer right here can reveal more about your leadership potential than pretty much anything else you say. It is a total make or break moment. So what's the secret to a knockout answer? It all starts with this huge mental shift. See, most people think of conflict as a fire you've got to put out immediately. But the really exceptional leaders, they see it as data. They don't just react to the heat. They diagnose the source. And that one little reframe, well, it changes everything. It's the foundation of a brilliant answer.
Okay, so if you're going to diagnose conflict, you need the right tools in your toolkit. And the most fundamental tool, the one you've got to master, is being able to tell the difference between two very different types of conflict. The kind that actually helps your school grow and, well, the kind that just tears it apart.
Really, it just boils down to this. Productive conflict, that's the good stuff. It's that healthy tension that brings better ideas to the surface and makes everyone's thinking sharper. But damaging conflict, that's what happens when things get personal. It shuts down progress and just corrodes the trust that holds a school community together.
And let's be really clear here. Not all conflict is bad. In fact, when it's handled with respect, productive disagreement is actually a sign of a really healthy school. It's how you get to much stronger solutions for your students. It means people care enough to debate. And when they do, you end up with better decisions and way more buy-in from everyone involved.
But on the other side, here are the big red flags. The second a professional disagreement turns personal, you are officially in the danger zone. This is where resentment starts to build, the rumor mill kicks into gear, and that teamwork that's so essential to a great school just begins to crumble. This is exactly what you, as a leader, are there to protect the school culture from.
Think about a really common debate, something like changing the dismissal procedure. That discussion can be so productive. It could lead to a safer, more efficient system for everyone. But it turns toxic the moment it stops being about what's best for kids and starts being about somebody's pride or just the way we've always done things.
Now this is so critical for a dean. Imagine one teacher sees a student who's struggling, but another teacher sees that same student's incredible strengths. A weak leader sees a problem there. A great leader, they see invaluable data. When you bring those perspectives together respectfully, you get this amazing 360-degree view of a child. But when it turns into labeling or gossip, you've broken trust, and that is incredibly hard to repair.
Okay, so you can diagnose the type of conflict. Great. But what do you actually do about it? That brings us to the leader's playbook, knowing when and, just as importantly, how to step in.
This is the question that probably keeps a lot of leaders up at night, right? If you jump in too soon, you teach people you'll solve all their problems for them. But if you wait too long, you risk letting a really damaging situation get way out of hand. The answer isn't simple, but don't worry, there's a framework to guide your judgment.
This quote right here is just pure leadership wisdom. Your job isn't to solve every single problem for every single person. Of course, you need to be available. But this idea of over-functioning, jumping into every little squabble, it just teaches your staff that they don't need to solve problems themselves. Plus, it drains your time and energy away from the bigger, systemic issues that really need your focus.
So, here it is, the playbook. It's a clear, reliable process. First, you diagnose the type and you assess its impact, especially on students. Then, you make a conscious decision if and how to intervene, always making sure your response is proportional to the problem. The most crucial part, you constantly anchor the conversation back to what's best for students and the school's mission. You handle it in a way that preserves everyone's dignity, and you always, always follow up.
All right, now for the really fun part. Knowing the framework is one thing, but being able to talk about it with powerful, precise language in an interview, that's a whole other level. This next section is packed with the exact phrases that are going to make that interview panel sit up and really take notice.
This distinction right here is an absolute game changer. Calling out is public, it's often shaming. It might feel good in the moment, but it almost never leads to actual growth. Calling in, on the other hand, is the real leadership move. It's a private, respectful conversation that's all about understanding and improvement. It's about building people up, not tearing them down.
This phrase, "This is interview gold." I want you to remember this one.
Using it instantly signals that you're a mature, thoughtful leader who is focused on solutions, not on drama. It shows the panel that you prioritize professional growth and the dignity of every single person on your staff.
And here are a few more quick ways to show just how sophisticated your thinking is. Can you tell the difference between a simple disagreement and a true, deep-seated conflict? Can you recognize if an issue is just a one-time thing, an outlier, or if it's a reoccurring pattern that needs a bigger systemic fix? This kind of nuanced understanding, that's the hallmark of a really experienced leader.
All right, we've done the work. We've diagnosed conflict, we have our playbook, and we have our power language. So let's put it all together. I'm going to give you a super simple, memorable way to structure your answer so you can deliver it with confidence, even under pressure.
And how perfect is this? To absolutely nail the Dean of Students interview, all you have to remember is the DEAN framework. And this isn't just some cutesy gimmick, it's a powerful mental checklist that organizes all the key concepts we've just been talking about.
Let's break it down real quick. D. First, you diagnose the conflict. E. Then, you evaluate its impact on students and culture. A. Next, you act, but always proportionally. And finally, N. You nurture the resolution. And that means you follow up to rebuild trust and reinforce those positive norms. It's simple, it's comprehensive, and believe me, it is incredibly effective.
And here it is. This is what it sounds like when you put it all together. This model answer is your template. Just notice how it starts with that big picture understanding, it moves straight to diagnosis and proportional action, it weaves in that powerful calling in language, and it ends by anchoring everything back to the ultimate goal, protecting the culture and keeping the focus squarely on students.
So let's do a quick recap of the most critical points. 1. Diagnose, don't just react. 2. Know the difference between conflict that helps and conflict that harms. 3. Understand the immense power of knowing when not to intervene. 4. Use calling in to lead with respect. And 5. When in doubt, let the student experience be your ultimate guide.
We're going to end with this thought. Answering the conflict question in an interview, it isn't just about showing you can solve problems. It's about showing that you understand that every single interaction, every disagreement, handled well, is an opportunity to strengthen your school's culture. So the real question for you isn't just how you handle conflict, but how you will use it to truly lead.